Hello, everybody. Welcome to our stream. Tonight, this is a very special stream in celebration of our friend Garth Harkness McMurray. Um, Garth passed away this past Monday, the 21st. So we were just notified about it today. So we are creating this stream. Anyone who has thoughts or memories or stuff you want to say it in the chat, or some of y'all who want to come join us on stream, let us know. We can throw people the link as this goes, but this is really just a time for everyone just to celebrate memories and good feelings and thoughts of Garth. Garth was a huge supporter of this channel. There's a lot of stuff on this channel that we wouldn't have been able to do without the help and support of Garth. So it just made sense to do a stream. Chris, if you'd like to.
Yeah. I mean, I'll start by saying, we went to a movie earlier today, got out of the movie, took a stop at the grocery store on the way home, and that was about when everything was posted on social media by Garth's family. I didn't see it yet. Got a call from our friend Vernon, who promptly let us know, and just kind of at a loss for words. Garth has really meant a lot to us. I know I say he's meant a lot to us both specifically, but I'll speak for myself when I've said it. I posted it online, posted on Twitter. Garth has been very generous in helping me, achieve some of my dreams and in starting my own business and everything outside of what we do online. And he's been a very generous, a very giving soul. And kind of following up with me also, like how are things going? How's it all working for you? Are you doing well? And just like, I haven't really been able to just fully break down and be emotional about it yet, just because there's been a lot that's been going on, between that moment of finding out and now. And I know it's going to happen. It's going to happen on stream. I'm gonna end up possibly breaking down during this a little bit, just because Garth has just been a good friend. He's just been a wonderful friend, honestly, in ways that other people I consider friends, that I've known personally face to face in our life here, he's been a friend in ways that those people have not, and it's crazy because we've only really gotten to know Garth through this online space, through streams and through
the Schmodown. It started with the Schmodown.
Yeah, it started with the Schmodown. It started with streams, us doing our own thing on this channel, and him coming to support us two knuckleheads. Him wanting to give his time and energy to us was such an amazing thing, and getting to know him through that. I feel like I'm kind of still in a state of shock a little bit. And we know like his health hasn't been great. All of us we're hoping for the best constantly. But I don't think anyone's ever ready for somebody they know or have known personally at any point in any kind of a way. I don't think anyone's ever ready for that, for those people to pass. Like, this is, I was talking to a friend earlier about how this might be the first time in my life I've ever actually experienced somebody that I know on any kind of personal level passing. Like, you know, our grandfather, when we were younger, passed, and he was the only you know, family member that we've really known in some kind of way who's passed. And even then, like, I was younger, and it didn't really hit me. And this is very different.
Yeah, he was a truck driver, so he usually was always having to work like on the big like family holiday get-togethers.
Yeah.
So we didn't see him that often. We also had a great grandmother who usually the family get-togethers were at her house.
Yeah.
She passed away as well, but
so
yeah, we haven't had like any close friends or other family pass.
So this basically is the closest person that I've ever known, and I'm sorry if it feels like I'm kind of just like meandering a little bit for all of you guys out there. I'm kind of trying to, even still, I'm trying to wrap my head around how I feel about all of this. I mean, obviously very sad, but like, I don't really know. I guess what I'm saying is I really still am in a state of shock a little bit. Yeah.
Real quick, so there are two links down in the description. One is a link for the New England Lymphoma Association. So if you would like to donate, his family posted up on like Facebook and Twitter earlier. So if you've seen those posts, they were saying if you would like to donate in his honor, in his name, you could definitely do it there. If you would like, you can also donate directly to our Streamlabs. All proceeds are going to that New England Lymphoma Association. So we'll make sure everything gets to there. So if you would like to donate, if you feel encouraged to, please, there's two places you could donate down below. Yeah, like he's been in and out of health for a while now. We have seen him posting like he's back in the hospital again for something or another. It's always was it the Brigham Young Women's Hospital? I think that's the name of it that he was going to. All the colorful roommates that he had there was always fun to hear about. Yeah.
Somebody watched Venom way too many times.
Yeah. So I was going to get into that here in a little bit, but I was like, yeah, through Garth being a part of this community, not just on our channel, but all the other channels that we know that he was also supporting, we have learned that like his favorite movie is Casablanca, or maybe Venom at this point, from however many times that roommate watched it back to back to back. But
I don't think so.
I don't think he liked Venom, but yeah, his favorite movie was Casablanca. I believe his favorite band was Garbage. So, just everything that he would share. This man was full of stories, and always interesting. There was always something very interesting to what he was talking about. Whether it was like name dropping, which he did a lot, which come to find out, he actually was like friends with all these people. He actually is friends with Patty Jenkins.
he never dropped a name that he didn't actually have a connection to.
Yeah. Or like, just how many times have we seen the picture of him with Chris Evans? I know he absolutely loved meeting Captain America because he loved Captain America. Or even so much like the picture of him with his father, and he was always sharing it, saying his father looked just like was it Fraser Crane? What's the actor's name?
Kelsey
Grammer. Yeah. So yeah, just fun like little memories like that. At one point, I will say we also nicknamed him Magical Mind McMurray. Garth Magic Mind McMurray, because he was just so quick with those puns or those quips. And it's usually puns. His pun game was outstanding. Loved loved when he was able to throw in like just a random pun about something we were talking about, and it's like, oh, it was always nice, especially when we were talking about something rough or hard to talk about, and then we'd look over in the chat and he would have like some funny like little pun. We're like, all right, that makes this so much better. So yeah, just stuff like that. I know I'm going to greatly miss on that.
Yeah, he's absolutely a one of a kind individual, and it's the feeling of his loss right now is, it's hard at the moment, and I know it's gonna be hard for a while because he's been such a consistent part of all of our lives and our various communities, whether it was the Schmodown community or our little corner pocket over here, or some of y'all out there are part of different pieces of communities across YouTube, across like the greater Schmodown community, and I know that Garth was a part of damn near everyone's community as much as he could be, and it was I know we're all gonna individually be feeling this loss for quite some time. It's again like it's hard to process. It's really hard to process and just come up with all the words to describe truly how I feel right now. I know I said a little bit already, and it's like, what do you do? What do you say the day you find out? So it is very difficult. I know. Also, we want to bring on folks too, who I know everyone's got their own memories and stories of Garth to share as well. So I should say, like, if anybody in the chat wants to join us and share something, I think we can send out the link and whatnot as well to come on board and say something. If you want to come on screen, if you want to just share in the chat, you're more than welcome to do so.
Yeah. That being said, we do have one person already hopping on here. And we will bring on Malcolm. Hello, sir.
Hello. I'm still struggling to process it myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just one of those ones, like, he was a frequent appearer on like Take 3 stuff, like Rankin. Like, last thing I think remember I had him on was Carl Urban movies, but yeah, like he's just one of those ones, like, in the chat, like, I remember hearing his story, like, anytime someone brought up Olivia Wilde, like, he was always quick to bring up the fact that he taught Olivia Wilde editing back at whatever the school it was back when she was known as Cockbird. It was just one of those ones, like, and yeah, like, he's also like a freaking competitor in over in Full Metal as well, like, and all through the things, like, he was like one of my teammates that was there. He was always such a delight to talk to, and this just, especially today, because like, with the like 1-2 punch of Bray Wyatt, and now this is like, I don't know what to say. It's like,
yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot to process and think about in situations when people that you care about are no longer there, and
yeah.
I know we wanted to do this stream tonight and invite folks on, and it's very impromptu. It's very informal. This is not a produced show. This is not, if I'm sitting here not knowing what to say, it's because this is a very real situation and it's a very real thing, and we're all kind of just experiencing it,
Yeah.
So like not being able to come up with words is kind of might be the theme for several of us out here.
Yeah, just especially with how many people he's sort of been there. Because I'm like just seeing on Twitter, like everyone that he's impacted over life, like whether it's been over on Video Drew's channel from New Chronic and all that, all the way to Andres and like,
yeah, that's the thing. It's like he was one of those that was always such a mainstay in so many people's chat. Like I know, again, and I mentioned this earlier, that our community pretty much is like an extension of the Schmodown. The community that the movie trivia Schmodown started, and that's where he like really started from, and then branched out and interacted with every facet of the community. So if you had an after show, or if you had a reaction channel or anything, Garth was usually pretty much in every single one of them, as far as I know. Always there, supporting, having fun. On top of that, he would also I know he was active in many of the trivia leagues, the fan leagues. I think in some of those he would help in regards to maybe like some art or like trivia questions.
yeah.
But he was always there, willing to be helpful. And I mean, I'll speak for me. Outside of making YouTube content, being able to keep up with like like a bunch of channels while still doing other things that you have to do in life, it's just that man was giving of a lot of his time and a lot of his heart. And the fact that he dedicated so much to help watch and follow and like and support all these creators just shows that, like, ultimately, yes, he came for the movie trivia, but he stayed for the friendships that he could make. I know that sounds corny, but I mean, he stayed for the people.
Yeah.
And I know, yes, he's donated money to like our channel. I know he donated to a lot of other channels, but I think the biggest thing he was always able to donate was his time, his information. I mean, there's so many times that we got actually by him, and it's like it's weird because like when you're trying to produce a show and you got someone in the chat or whatever actuallying you kind of feel like it's a little like, well, what am I doing? I shouldn't be on camera. Let's get this guy on camera.
Yeah.
But it's at the end of the day, it was always fun because he was just adding to the conversation, and I loved it. Like he's one of the I'll say this honestly, he's one of the few people I actually didn't mind getting actually from. So yeah, it's just kind of like what y'all are saying. I'm not good with sharing emotions to begin with, as my brother can attest. So yeah, just trying to find the words and stuff like that it's so hard. Even though that this is, again, kind of like what I was talking about earlier, he's been posting about his visits to the hospital, and he would post things like, man, I hope I get out of the hospital this time, or this might be the time that I come to the hospital. And every single time we're sitting here like, no, you're going to be fine. You're going to get out of the hospital and we'll see you back in your luxurious armchair, actuallying us in the chat and just having a good old time. And I can't wait to see that again. So,
yeah, he was one of those ones. Like he was really knowledgeable, but it's also the other thing is like whenever he would get on to do trivia at any times, like he's always a quick one to say, "Oh yeah, I don't think I'm going to do well in this match, but I'm willing to play." It's like it's just always willing to play movie trivia, even though he's admitted he's on camera like, I don't think I'll be that good, but I like playing.
I will say he's hung out and done our trivia hangouts and stuff. He knows some things. He's good. He's good at some trivia.
Oh yeah, it's one of those ones like with any trivia is like you only know what you get asked, and if you don't get asked those questions, then well,
I would say that, like, from my knowledge, again, bringing this back to the movie Trivia Schmodown, there's some parts of the movie Trivia Schmodown I definitely feel like he could have hung with. He could have been a part of. And it's one of those, like, I know the Schmodown was made up of people who had like that movie knowledge, but also could bring character work. And Garth was a character in the most positive of way I could say it. He was a walking character, and it would have, like, I would have loved to have seen what he could have done in something like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, let us okay. Let us continue this. Let's bring on someone else who is waiting in the back. Former Cinefanatic member, Miss Tori Rose. Hello, Tori.
Hello.
How are you?
You know, Chris was the one who told me, and I'm very emotional as a person, so I don't really feel any shame about that. But I think I was in shock at first, in particular, and I think I still am a little bit. But I was at work, and Chris knows when I work, and he knows, generally when I'm working, and I kept feeling my phone go off, and I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? And I look at my phone, and I see Chris is calling. And at first I'm just like, oh, he must not realize I'm working. And I, silence it or whatever. And then he calls me again, and then he texts me, and I'm like, oh. And I step out, and even though I know he wasn't doing well, it still surprised me. I think even when you're thinking yeah, someone isn't doing well, you're still not really ever, I think in the back of your head, you're always thinking, yeah, maybe he'll get better or it'll be different. And so, I just kind of, since then I got home, and yeah, it just kind of hits in waves. We spent a lot of time with him watching movies, doing trivia stuff, playing Jackbox on Chris's streams, being in Chris's streams. And, I'm someone at this point in my life, a lot of my friends are online, in general. Chris is one of my really close friends. He's online. Yeah. We spend most of our times hanging out, watching movies together. One of my best friends, Ariana, online. She lives in Massachusetts. So it feels very close, even though our friendship was online. And I was going through the Cinefanatics Discord, and it's it's a lot of Garth.
Yeah.
And just seeing how nice he was to everyone. You don't see that a lot. I met a lot of people online through the Schmodown. I've encountered a lot of people. And it's rare to find someone so genuine, I think. Who will just get to know you and remember things about you and check in with you. And he always did that for me. And even small things, I just posted, if you know me, I'm weirdly obsessed with frogs. It's a weird thing I have. And he would tag me in frog things or send me frog things and just think of me and make me feel included and make me feel supported, particularly when I was going through things that were rough. And it sucks that he was so young. I know we joked about him being old, but objectively, he was so young. And I wish he had a more gentle sort of last year. I feel like his last year was really rough. If you knew him and you knew kind of what he was experiencing, I wish it was more gentle for him. He deserved a more gentle transition and end of life, and he deserved for it to be not right now. He deserved for it to be 30 years down the road, 40 years down the road, and I wish it was a lot more gentle to him. And I think, yeah, I'm just in shock, like you guys said, and I'm grateful that we have videos of him, lots of videos of him, and lots of just like him. Like, you don't get that all the time with people.
Yeah.
And I was even seeing, like, if you go in the Cinefanatics Discord and you type in his name, or even like, I think like YouTube, I know someone he was very fond of was Video Drew, and Nerd Chronic. He always talked about when we were hanging out with him, like he would always mention Video Drew. And you can see like he participated in their quizzes a lot. And like, I'm so grateful that we have those, that like we can go and see him even if we can't talk to him anymore. So I was watching some of that before I came on here. And yeah, he was just a genuine, warm person and funny. And it sucks. And I do have beer, so.
Yeah, I also, in his honor, I'm not sure he was a fan, but, you know, cracked open a Guinness for him in his honor. He's Irish heritage, you know, the whole Boston, Massachusetts area. It just felt right.
All I have is Angry Orchard, which I don't think has anything to do with Boston.
Wow.
But I'm like, you know, it'll do.
We should have gone with the Sam Adams, because the Sam Adams brewery is in Boston.
Sam Adams is another good choice. But,
yeah. Yeah, when I think of Boston, I think of Garth for sure. That's one of my big connections I have for him.
Let's also, so we got another one back here. Let's go ahead and add our friend Brennan to the stream. And I will say,
hello.
with Brennan here, hello. You guys are free to come and go as you need. If at any point you need to hop out, you can signal us, just let us know. And, you know, this isn't kind of a formal thing where everyone's allotted, you know, exactly 10, 20, 30 minutes. It's, you know, come and go as you please, as we have other people who want to jump in as well. You know, we might rotate some folks out potentially. So just everybody is welcome to come in and go as they need to, as they please, you know. So, hi, Brennan.
Hi. Hello.
How are you doing, Brennan?
I'm good. Yeah, I got to hang out with Garth almost weekly on Video Drew's study sessions, and he was fun. He was so fun, and he was so really knowledgeable. I think he always undersold his abilities, because he could even give me a run for my money, which now would not be a good time to brag, but Garth is like, well, Vernon knows all these. I'm like, well, maybe not as many as you might think. But it was really fun to get to hang out with him. His sense of humor is unactualing was so funny. And I thought I was the king of that, but he was. But yeah, I mean, great guy. We got a lot of good memories. I think, you know, as a spiritual, religious person, I don't believe that he's gone. I know that not everyone believes that. That's fine, but to me, there'll be a reunification someday. I'll get to hang out with him again, and that gives me a lot of hope. But until that time, we are blessed to have a lot of fun memories of him.
Yeah.
So he's still here. in some fashion.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that I got to know him as well as I did. And you're absolutely right. He was on like every channel. It's like, wait, Garth is here too? You know, he was with you guys, he was with Drew, he was with
And that's hard to do.
Roka and all that kind of stuff. He was all over the place. Mark Riley, and it's like, man, do you ever sleep?
Yeah, I was saying that
around on the channels.
I was saying that to Chris. Like, I was like, I'm pretty sure like he interacted with like everyone at some
Yes.
point or another. And I like don't even remember exactly where I met him because of that. I'm like, it could have been in Chris's thing. He and I were a part of a lot of communities that we were pretty active members in for a while, on and off. And it's like, I don't know where it happened, but it was.
I don't remember.
He and I watched a lot of the same content and were in a lot of the same Discords and interacting in a lot of the same streams. Yeah. And I'm grateful that a lot of that is recorded. Like YouTube, even for a lot of his actuallys, like you can go back and if you watch like a Cinefanatics tagline, YouTube keeps the comments. So you can see like what he said. Even if they didn't highlight it on the screen, YouTube will now keep. I love that feature of theirs. Like you can see the chat.
You can also see him actually other people than just the Cinefanatics.
I think he actually me a few times.
Yeah. It's like I said, he was fond of like so many people. Like he would always talk about all of the like different channels and creators that he like loved whenever we were hanging out with him. And he genuinely liked those liked, you know, everyone we've mentioned so far.
And if anyone deserved to stick around longer than he did, it was Garth.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, he had a lot more years than him, I think.
Yeah. I know Haskell was asking in the chat how old he was. I want to say it was like, what, 50?
I think it was 56, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, way too young, easily.
Yeah.
Still. But
I was just reading one of our Discord posts with him, and he mentions his birth year.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I can pull it up.
Yeah, I remember, you know, when I was on that streak on the FCL, I think Garth is one of my biggest, like, cheerleaders. He was always like, you're going to do it, Brennan, you're going to win. And
yeah.
I think it was nice to know he had my back.
Yeah, he was born in 68. So he, I think, had just turned 55 this year.
Okay.
yeah, I think I remember him always making the joke that he was born in 68. And like, if we could have just waited one more year, just one more year, y'all.
Yeah.
One more year.
Hello.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones like, whenever I've had him on making I says like, you think you saw this young? I was in theaters when I saw Star Wars. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure. I think he was a model on just about everyone's channel as well.
Yeah, he was.
I know he was a model on lots of people's channels.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I can imagine like he'll be in heaven, like geeking out of like Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you imagine? Wow. Jake brings up a comment here that I wanted to highlight. This is always one of my favorite jokes, that the lines between him and Roka. Roka always saying that he's going to drag his balls across his forehead.
Yes.
And that was always one of the funniest bits. Thank you, Jake, for bringing that up. I appreciate that.
What's funny is I forgot that was a bit. So every time, like either whenever we were doing a stream or whatever with Garth, and either Roka's name comes up, or like the couple of times we've had Roka on one of our streams and Garth was always in the chat, Roka, as soon as he sees like Garth in the chat, like, oh, shut up, Garth, I'm about to go drag my balls across your forehead. Like, it's so good.
Yeah.
You know,
Alas
wish-
will never
I wish-
get balls dragged across the forehead. So
I wish we could have hung out with him at Spectacular when we went. That would have been so fun.
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which I understand that if you have health conditions, getting from Massachusetts to LA might be a bit of a
man.
stretch.
It's hard for
So,
me to get to LA, and I only live 7 hours away. So
Hmm.
geez, yeah. So, it's that he passed away from lymphoma, which is
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
it's a cancer of the blood cells. So it prevents
Yeah.
your blood cells from being able to work properly,
Yeah.
which is the number one thing as far as like having a good working immune system. So yeah, there's donation links in the description. Primarily, everything is going to go in his name, in his honor, to the New England Lymphoma Association. To kind of help. Again, it's another one of those charities that just helps fund, I guess, research on how to essentially cure cancer.
So correction, it's the New England Hemophilia Association.
Is it hemophilia or lymphoma?
Yeah.
Do I have that? Do I actually have that correct in the
I believe he
Yes.
had both.
Yes, you do.
hemophilia?
Yes, you have it correct.
He had like
Um,
both.
that is the
Plus,
organization that is because hemophilia is what he was battling longer term throughout his entire life. Not just the lymphoma at the end there, but yeah, everything. We have that link down in the description for anyone who wants to donate his name to that, as well as we do have our Streamlabs link. Anything, if anyone wants to send in a message specifically through the Streamlabs to be read aloud here, if you don't want to come on screen with us and you don't want to just post in the chat, if you want to send it through the Streamlabs link, we will read it aloud, and any donation that comes through that link, we will mark it, make sure we have it set aside, and we will be giving all of that to the New England Hemophilia Association as well.
I know, real quick, I know we did get a super chat in. For the most part, try not to send those in as super chats, because whenever a super chat comes in, one, we may not get it for like months. Two, YouTube takes like a third of super chats. YouTube does not need to be making money because our friend passed away. So please,
Yeah.
let's try not to send those in through super chat. Do it through either directly to the New England was it hemophilia? Yeah, hemophilia. Or if you want to do it through our Streamlabs, and then we'll funnel it to them as well afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah. When I heard the news, I didn't know what to say for like 5 minutes straight. I think I just sat and stared at my screen.
We were at we had just gotten out of the movie.
Yeah.
We filmed a out of the theater reaction. That was probably like 10 minutes before we got the call. Stop off at the grocery store on the way home, got the call. Chris is on the phone, and Chris just tells me, like, yep, he passed, without actually saying a name. And I'm like, I know exactly who he was talking about immediately. And I was like,
yeah.
In all honesty, we knew this was going to be coming someday, but it's still, you are not prepared for when it actually hits.
Yeah.
And again, we've never personally met him. All of our interactions have been over the internet. In fact,
it's true.
A lot of my friends that I've known personally, here where I grew up, have all moved away or got married, and I don't hear from them anymore. Most of my friends now are you guys, people that I interact with on the internet. I've never in my life have I known so many people so personally without actually meeting them in person.
Yeah. A couple of years ago during the pandemic, I said to Roka in one of his shows, I said the pandemic sucks. We all know that. But because of it, we got to meet so many great people.
Yeah.
And we never would have gotten to meet if we had had to find other ways to hang out with each other. Garth was definitely one of the bright spots in there. That I don't think I would have met him if not for the pandemic.
Well, good example on that, Brennan. We met you because of the FCL, and the FCL was an offshoot from the Schmodown that had
Yep.
to be virtual. Once
Yep.
they realized that they could potentially sustain a virtual Schmodown,
Until they
where-
took my belt, but that's
Yeah.
a whole different story.
that's really where the FCL came from. So it was because of the pandemic that they were forced to do that, and it
Yep.
created this community of everyone just really connecting via the internet.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got to meet all you guys. Got to meet Malcolm because of the pre-FCL trivia.
Yeah.
Got to meet
Oh.
Tori. It was awesome. Got to meet
Real-
all these wonderful people, including Garth.
Um,
So it feels like just it's a big void.
I don't know if I want to do Venom or if I want to do Casablanca.
Oh yeah.
Or we could just make it a double feature. That sounds like that would be the
Blanca.
weirdest double feature
it's a
ever.
weird double feature.
Venom
The Casa
Blanca.
Venom double feature.
Hey, you know what?
Casa
Strange.
Venom or Venom Blanca.
It's a strange double feature for someone who honestly was a strange man who we all enjoyed being strange.
But it was
It's
the
true.
good strange. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Real quick, Jimmy, thank you so much for popping in. Appreciate you sharing love in the chat and all your memories of Garth as well. Have a good night.
And honestly, I think if you did that double feature, I think Garth would be laughing out loud. Of course, that's what they do.
Mhm.
They would do that.
the only thing though is if we're gonna do a true Venom watch along in his honor, as soon as we're done watching the movie, we have to start
Watch
it
it again.
over and watch it again.
Do we have to
Yeah,
do
Jared,
it?
Jared just put in the chat, for a month straight.
I think
Yeah.
I think a Venom
So
watch along is
one
necessary, but only if someone is willing to keep it going for a month straight, back to back to back.
I almost kind of wish we could find out who that roommate was who was watching Venom the whole time. Like, by the way,
Yes.
your weird need to constantly watch Venom has influenced a massive community, and you have no idea what you've done.
Right?
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I'm gonna head out to
Cough of
get
Venom.
room with somebody else. But
Okay.
it's good to talk to you guys. Good to see you, Malcolm and Tori.
You
So
too.
good to see you.
Thank you for
Garth
stopping by,
was a
Brendan.
wonderful guy. There's a big void, I think, in our hearts right now.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad that I got to know him. So, well, love you all, and I'll talk to you later.
Oh, good night, sir.
Thanks for stopping in, Brennan.
Yeah, I'm also going to head out before I go. Mike Halowski just posted about it, and he goes, "This is heartbreaking. Garth was one of the best and most ardent, supportive fans of the Schmodown community. The one fan whose incessant mocking of me for my Flash Gordon era I lovingly accepted because of our mutual love of Flash Gordon. Rest in peace, Prince Fulton."
Yeah, that was a lovely message that Mike left.
Yeah,
I thought that was really great.
but see us all again sometime.
Right. Thanks for
Hopefully
stopping in,
decent
Malcolm.
times.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Did you see? Oh, bye, Malcolm. Sorry. Did you see the? I was thinking to myself the video Allison Salamoni posted.
Is it that flicking reel one where he's showing the drawing of Venom?
Yes.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I was trying. Like, I've been sitting here for the past. How long have we been streaming? 45 minutes. For the past like 20 minutes or so. If y'all see me, I've been over here trying to figure out how to get that video off of Twitter so I can put it in a format that I can load it up here because it is hilarious. I can't figure out how to get it up here.
Maybe if one of the Flick and Reel fam pop in here, maybe they can figure out a way to bring it in with them. somehow.
Yeah, I know. Jesse shared it to me. Jesse DM'd it to me. So if Jesse, if you're watching, when you're able to come on, if you're able to just share that video that way instead of Twitter, because okay, there he says that can help. Okay, cool.
Perfect.
Yeah, I don't know how to get, especially because I don't have my Wi-Fi turned on for the stream, so can't
Yeah.
airdrop or anything. Freaking
Talking
Titan.
about like Venom. See, now I just got Venom on the brain. I'm trying to like think of something completely different. It's just Venom that just pops up. Now that we brought it up. Brennan brought up the FCL stuff, and I think that's a good highlight too, because obviously, like, Garth was a very adamant, strong supporter of us, as well as he was many people. But really poured in a lot of support for us during our tenure on the FCL. And I just remember the constant stories of, they were doing FCL. I believe they were doing FCL they were doing it on Twitch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they would do it on Twitch, and they would do a lot of, it's been so long now, apparently I completely forgot. But they were doing a lot of the channel point betting, something that you can do on the Twitch platform. You get channel points whenever you watch for a considerable amount of time, and you could always utilize those in fun, different ways to interact on the channel. They did channel point betting all the time for who do you think would win a match in the
That's
FCL.
right. Yeah.
And anytime one of us was up, whether it was my brother or myself, he would always talk about how he would spend all of his channel points on us. And a lot of the times the outcome was, well, maybe you shouldn't have done that. maybe
Especially if you were playing.
I don't know how to say this in like an elegant way,
Yeah.
but one of the things that made me break earlier was thinking about Chris and I are like, Chris is one of my best friends, period. And I just kept thinking about, like, I don't know how to say it as elegantly, but it's like how kind he was and how supportive he was of you guys. Like, that was something that in itself I adored about him. Like, I don't know, like seeing someone treat my friend so well and be there for him, and just like, I don't know, like knowing like in the back of my head, like, oh, if I couldn't be in Chris's stream today, like Garth would be there. Or during like, I don't think Chris and I were really as close. I think we like started being friends while you were in FCL. I don't think we were as close while you were like deep in it. So I wasn't catching as many of the FCL matches, but it's like knowing Garth was there for you for that. I'm like, I don't know. It just like hits me again. I don't know. Like he was genuinely like someone who, if he was showing up in your thing and supporting you, or like he genuinely meant it. He wasn't someone who had like second ulterior motives or something like that. Like it was a genuine, he liked what you were doing, and he was showing it. Like I don't know how to articulate that in a better way. And it's just something about him that I really also adored. So
it's true. I think that's a big testament to Garth's character and how much he was, how giving he was to everybody, which is that at any given point you could be live online. I know there's quite a few people out there who will understand this. You're going to be going live with a show, whether it's on YouTube or you're doing a live stream like I do on Twitch. And I'll say from my perspective, if like kind of like you brought up, if at any point I was nervous about, is anybody going to be watching our stream today? Is anyone going to be watching, what I'm doing today? I could always count on there being at least one viewer every single time. And that one viewer was always Garth, no matter what was going on, even when he was spending days, nights, weeks in the hospital. He would still, at the very least, if nothing else, pop up in the chat and say like, hey, I am watching. I'm in the hospital. Wi-Fi is kind of rough here. I'm probably going to be in and out, but I am here. I am watching. I am taking part. I am supporting. And it's one of those things where like, I think so many of us might take a message like that for granted at the time. And it's something now, you know, as we begin the process of looking back, you know, I will acknowledge just how much of a blessing it is to have someone just pop up and say, like, hey, I'm here. I know you don't have a whole lot of folks hanging around right now. I'm here, though. I'm here for you. And just having anybody in your life who will do that, who will pop in and say, like, I'm here for you. It means the absolute world. It means the absolute world just to have even one person say, hey, I'm behind you. I'm supporting you. I'm holding you up. And it's Garth was such a great foundation in that way, holding up so many different communities in so many different ways.
Yeah.
I had to go get my comfort macaroni and cheese.
Yeah. I think I'm going to do some comfort, like chicken fajitas a little bit later.
Yeah. Like this one, he was the same for me. He'd always either be there or will message after the fact to say he enjoyed something. Yeah. That's the other thing too, is, you know, whenever we have videos, whenever we do like our reviews or reactions or anything we do on this channel, a lot of the times, if no one else comments, Garth will. Garth will be the one to leave the comment saying something, and a lot of times, yes, it is the actually, you got this fact wrong. In which case, you know, it's kind of like, oh, Garth, thanks for letting us know, buddy.
Especially if it's something comic book related, and especially if it was something I actually knew, but for some reason I like brain farted it, and he'd be like, actually that was. So I was like, damn it, Garth.
Yeah.
Good night, Jake. Thank you for joining.
Thanks for popping in.
Yeah. But, oh man,
I'm gonna miss playing Jackbox with him a lot.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna feel weird. So I think he's literally, if he's not been in every single one, he may have like missed one because of literally his health.
Yeah.
He was in like most of them. And it's gonna feel weird not having him.
It is. It's going to feel really weird not having him hang out with us during those times. Let's also, we got another friend in here who we would definitely want to hear some words from is Vernon here.
Hello.
Hello.
hello, sir.
You know,
That we do.
everybody said a lot of things tonight, and they're gonna say things. So I appreciate getting a moment to actually say a thing or two. First of all, off the top of my head, Garth, we love you. We will miss you. I guess I'm gonna say what I want to say, what Garth meant to me, and then I'll move along. I met Garth mainly through Video Drew and you guys. And from day one, you know when somebody is special, you recognize it. And Garth was that person always. Me being somebody who did the content creation for just a short time, I got to be honored and humbled by how much Garth is loyal to everybody that he supports. You know, I only did it for a year and a half, 2 years. And that man, through hell or high water, being sick, tired, in a hospital room, watching Venom a million times.
Yeah, he literally joined us not to interrupt you, Vernon, from a hospital room.
Yeah,
Like would hang out with us from his hospital room.
every time.
When I've been in a hospital room in the very short duration I've ever been in for my life, I'm just like a baby. I'm like, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
You know, he was there, and he was my channel's biggest supporter. And I can't ever say thankful enough. Even when I decided to hang it up for like 2 or 3 months after, the man wanted me to come back and do it. He believed in everybody that wanted to do something. And you three know just about as better than anybody. He was always going to be there for you. He would give you everything he had. I'm thankful that I have a memory of something that he did for me. Well, he did it for Video Drew, but it managed to become an actual product, an actual thing that he did. I will always keep this. I keep this hidden away. He drew this for Video Drew. And, you know, this bothered me more than people I know in what you would say, quote unquote, real life. Because you just don't find a genuine individual like that. So, yeah, I just wanted to take a quick moment and say thank you to Garth for always being there for all of us. That's all I got.
Well said. Well said. I know he was a big fan of your D&D campaigns that you were doing. Was always a very big supporter.
Did he get to see the Dungeons and Dragons movie?
I believe so.
I can't remember because I know he hadn't gone to a movie theater, but it went on streaming, right?
I think he did. I think he said it was like one of
Yes,
his
he did.
favorite movies of the year.
Yes, he did, because not to throw you under the bus at all, Vernon. Vernon down here recently on one of my past streams said that he hadn't seen it yet, and Garth was saying how much Vernon absolutely should check it out. That he would.
Yeah.
That happened only just a few days ago. So.
Yeah, the damnedest thing is, it was. I could tell you what time this was.
So
I think based on what he said, it's actually his #1 movie of the year.
So what you're saying real quick is we're going to end up doing a triple feature where we're watching Casablanca, Venom, and Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
The truth is, we could probably not do Venom, and it'd probably be okay.
He will understand if we don't watch Venom.
I think honestly, it's better just to associate Casablanca and Dungeons and Dragons with him. To be fair, I think that would actually be a very nice double feature in his honor.
Yeah. So today, in all honesty, at 5:08 p.m., I emailed him just to tell him that he was in my thoughts. And then an hour and 30 minutes later, I called you. Guys, you know, life is too short to not tell people you care about them. No matter what we all go through, we're a family. We all, you know, Brennan said it best. Y'all said it best. The online movie thing brought us all together when we would never know each other otherwise. And don't let the stupid shit get between anybody. Because Garth would never let anything get in the way of him being a good human being to you. Yeah. That's all I got to say. I'm gonna hop off here now.
Of course. Thank you for sharing, Brennan.
Yeah, Thanks for stopping by.
Well, now I have to watch Dungeons and Dragons. I was going to. I wanted to. And
Yeah.
Casablanca. I've never seen that movie. And I told Chris earlier already. I was like, well, I have to watch Casablanca this weekend with you. So.
Yeah.
Well, now, definitely have to now.
We did get we got a $10 donation in from Brennan, who was here just a little bit ago. Said to quote the Garth McMurray classic Venom Blanca, "We'll always have Venom." Kind of doing a little play on Casablanca there. We'll always have Venom. So thank you so much for that donation, and Brennan. And again, any donations you guys send in through Streamlabs will be going to the New England Hemophilia Association. And of course, we also have the link directly to them if you would rather just donate directly to them. You're very much obviously welcome to do so.
He didn't get to see Barbie, did he?
No.
I don't think so.
No, because unfortunately he wasn't able to go out to the movie theater. I feel like he understood enough about Barbie from our Barbie watches on Tackle.
That's fair.
Oh, that's the other memory. Oh. Every time we did the Barbie watch on Tagline, which is just a funny little bit for those of y'all who out there who may be experiencing us for the first time or here for the first time. We have a weekly show where we did movie news, talked about movie news and stuff, and for like a year and a half in preparation for the Barbie movie, I would always do this bit on that show called Barbie Watch, where we would try to share some piece of news or something about the upcoming Barbie movie. And for that bit, I created an intro that had a remix, essentially, like a house club remix of Aqua's Barbie song. And it would just blast in the intro. And every single week, without fail, Garth would always be in the comments screaming. because his ear, like I remember, like the last one we did, he literally was saying that he typed in chat like, "Hi, this is Garth's nurse. We had to take him away or what have you." First, he was shouting.
He joke about himself dying.
Yeah, he was shouting too much about the noise or what have you. And I was just
it was like, yeah, this is his nurse. He had a heart attack because
he had a heart attack because it's something loud. And I was like, okay, Garth, okay. It's funny. It was always funny. He would comment every single week. Again, anybody who is watching in the chat, if you guys want to join us and share some thoughts on screen, you are absolutely welcome to. Just let us know, and we'll find a way to get you the link to jump in. This is really just kind of open to anybody. Honestly, this isn't like some kind of you have to have a YouTube channel or have to have some kind of online presence of some sort in order to join us. I mean, we're very informal here. Obviously, Tori's eating macaroni and cheese during this.
I'm crying into my macaroni and cheese
because that's what Garth would have liked.
Garth would.
You would be like, Tori, go get your mac and cheese. So
yeah, Garth would support and appreciate that. He really
I'm drinking beer and crying into macaroni and cheese, and Mm-hmm.
Oh, we just got another donation from Streamlabs from Catatot, who we have not heard from a little bit. Kat says, I've been out of the loop for a while, but this news hurts. I really enjoyed Garth's presence in anything and everything. Sending love, all of you. Thank you so much for that, Kat. I appreciate that. We really appreciate that.
Do you guys remember how you met Garth? Like the both of you?
Really, just him popping up in our stream.
Generally, when it was?
It has to be like some of our first reactions to the Schmodown has to be like comments. Because I think that's initially that's initially how we had to have met him. It was from the Schmodown first. So it was probably like any reactions we were doing to the Schmodown at the time. He was definitely commenting on anytime we would do something live. From having watched our reactions, he would pop into the live and support us in the live chat. And I think at that time, he really was like the only person popping in and supporting us around that time when we first were getting going. And that's why I say honestly, like a lot. I said. Let me backtrack. I said this however long ago it was that Nerd Chronic that posted that sweet, wonderful, thoughtful post up on Twitter about showing Garth how much he means to us while we still had him with us, which I think that was such a brilliant move. I am absolutely 100% for giving people their flowers while they are alive to receive them. And so I think that was such a wonderful thing for Eric to do. But I mentioned in there, I mentioned, what was it? I lost my train of thought there.
The message you put into Nerd Chronic's post about Garth, about how you met him, something.
Yeah. Gosh, my brain is just so frazzled. Obviously, I think everybody understands. Trying to gather thoughts and stuff. I had a train of thought there, and I just completely lost it.
That's fair.
Let me see if I can jumpstart my brain here to remember what it was. Sorry, guys. It's just kind of all over the place.
Did you call me right after you talked to Vernon earlier?
Yeah,
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it was enough time for me and Chris to, while we were shopping at the grocery store, like, I'm trying to buy things, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at the shelf that has food on it, and I was like, I don't know why I'm looking at this shelf. And it just took a minute, and yeah.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to Target after work, but I was like, no. Nope. Nope.
Hey, PLD. Thank you so much for popping in and sharing. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. So Jeremy's bringing it up. He even joked a few taglines ago about dying by having his nurse type it in the chat. But yeah, okay. So I remember this because I was sitting there like, wait, what? Like I was live on camera, like, wait.
Yeah,
huh?
You didn't realize it was a joke.
Yeah, and I was like, I am not the type of person to joke about that with this time. Like, I'm glad that was a joke at that time because it got me and it was awkward for me. And anytime I'm awkward, apparently is always funny on camera. So, but yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, his literal ability to, I don't even know. Like, I don't know, like, exactly. Most of when I knew him, and again, it's foggy of like when exactly I met him, he was in and out of hospitals. And it's like, I couldn't, like, I don't have the strength in me for that at all. And it's like the fact that he was doing that and then still being like joking about it and then still being like hanging out with us actively or like in the chat. Like, I don't even know. Like, I literally have spent one night in a hospital ever in my life, like overnight, and was not at all myself. Was just not, I wouldn't have been able to do that. And yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah. Also, he knew Wonder Woman. What? Can we go back to that? I know we mentioned that earlier, but
Paging.
I remember like
Patty
he mentioned
Jenkins.
it at some point, and I was like, "What do you mean?" Or yeah, the writer for
Yeah.
Wonder Woman. Yeah.
So it was his family. His family was friends, I believe, with Patty Jenkins' husband.
Yes. Yeah.
So for those of y'all who might not know, Garth famously was known for like name dropping for a while. He was like, well, that was that one time I met Chris Evans. And if y'all know Garth, you've probably seen the picture of him with Chris Evans. I believe it was at Kamikaze, the comic book shop in Boston that he would frequent. And then he would also talk about, like, especially when the Wonder Woman movies were coming out, he would talk about, like, oh yeah, my friend Patty Jenkins. Just a very nonchalant, like any of us would have thought it's just a very casual name drop. Like, sure, Garth, okay, friends, Patty Jenkins. And then we actually saw the photos of like him and his family sitting around the dinner table with Patty Jenkins and her husband. Like, wait, he actually is friends with Patty Jenkins. He actually does know her. Like, it's wild.
It's
that man has.
That, and like he would also share about like how his sister went to high school with Michael Chiklis.
Oh yeah.
That
Like,
one we frequently heard all the time.
Yeah, and like for a while there, I think it was depending on which show we were doing, because I mean, like we would bounce on to like other shows as well that Garth would also either following us or he'll just be a fan of that show also. He would start talking about like whichever celebrity, especially if it was one we were talking about. Like if we started talking about Wonder Woman on another channel, he would start talking about Patty Jenkins. And of course, everyone's like, okay, Garth, you know Patty Jenkins, yada, yada, yada. Everyone would just take it as just like a constant, simple name drop.
Yeah.
But he was actually honest with his name drops. Like he actually knew these people. And that's wild.
And how
Olivia
also
Wilde actually
taught Olivia Wilde.
Speaking of Wilde,
there you go. Like William Harold said, something I always loved was that no matter how obscure the reference, Garth would always get it, and it's true. Garth was a man of culture, as the kids would say. He knew what you were talking about pretty much all the time.
Unless Tori was on the stream talking about Billie Eilish, I'm almost certain he probably had no clue who she was.
Or whatever nonsense I'm mentioning, yeah.
Oh no, I'm sure he understood who Billie Eilish was as well.
No, yeah, he was like, that was the thing, was like I would be talking about some random shit, and he would always, he wouldn't ever be like, "What are you saying?" as a child, and I'd be like, I don't know. He would just always be like,
I love his name drop. I love his talking about Patty Jenkins as well, because I said it earlier, Garth was a big supporter of myself, even in my ventures outside of what we do online. For those who don't know, I do wedding videography outside, and I've been doing it for several years, and have been recently starting my own business for it, to try to promote and essentially just run my own business. Well, in order to do so, I needed to be able to have my videography kit, cameras, lenses, all that kind of stuff. And Garth, being such a fantastic supporter as he was, donated a solid sum of money for me to be able to purchase pretty much the entire kit that I needed in order to do, to make that dream a reality. In an age where, I was in a car accident back in 2017, and I was, broken for many, many years with various spells of vertigo, dizziness, kind of all sorts of stuff that kept me from being able to really function at any kind of job for a long period of time. And so, Garth very much knew what it was like to be able to, not work, to not be able to, do the things that you love. And he was very, very incredibly generous in order to support and help me get my business off the ground. Well, one of the things he did was he let friends of his know that he's got a friend who was trying to get his, video, his film, his videography business off the ground. And these friends were very passionate about that. And so they had given him the money to purchase an item off of my Amazon wish list at the time, and one of those being a camera lens that I really needed for my kit. And so when that came through the mail, he left in there a little note. He said, "Hey, next time you're on stream, read this note on stream." And so I did, read the note, and it was to me from his friend Patty Jenkins. Essentially, from what I gather from the way it was told, was that it was Patty Jenkins and her husband who he had reached out to, the family friends, of course, and they had given him the funds to be able to purchase an item for his friend who had a dream about doing video film stuff, and so that's something that meant an absolute immense amount to me. Just knowing that he was, a through line to making something like that kind of thing happen. Like Garth was someone who could connect and give me like a degree or two separation from Patty Jenkins, essentially. In that scenario, it was such a sweet, amazing thing for him to do. It's just it's a memory. Honestly, like the amount he's given for me for my business is a memory that is going to be a huge blessing for me. I'm going to be dedicating so much of what I'm able to accomplish now to that man, because without him, I would not be in the place I am right now with being able to make that dream a reality. 100%. Like, that's not even like some kind of like corny phrase to say. I legitimately would not be in the place I am right now with a website and everything ready to go without Garth McMurray supporting the way he did. So
that being said, let's bring on a couple other people who have been supportive or been supported by Garth McMurray. We'll bring on Mr. Jesse Swift. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Nice hair.
I feel like usually it's not slicked back like this but the headphones are kind of pushing it back. I kind of feel like I look like Sting from like the 80s Dune, but it's fine.
Kinda. I mean, we're gonna have to see how you look in a G-string, but I'm not saying that you need to show that off right now.
Good lord.
Depends on how many donations you guys get in for Garth. It's the Garth string. We'll call it the G string for short.
Nice, the G-string.
He'd appreciate that, I think.
And since there's no other better way to I guess change it to this one, let's also bring on Mr. Eric Nerd Chronic.
Eric,
hey guys,
so
with the G-string talk here.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to join the G stream.
The G-string.
It's the G stream. Oh, that's what you guys should have called that.
Oh no, we missed out. Hey, look, we just found out this news today.
That's what we'll call the Venom watch along. Will be the G stream.
The G-string.
Nice. There you go.
Sponsored by G Fuel. I am trying to make jokes to keep from crying because Tori broke me like an hour ago.
I made it like 3 seconds. I was like, yeah. I'm not.
I didn't realize how quickly it becomes a defense mechanism because I just got out of the shower and I was like already thinking of all the things that I wanted to say about Garth, and I like started feeling emotional, and I came in and I was like, jokes, hot and heavy. I don't know how to handle emotions.
Here's the thing. That's true. Garth would have been so quick in the chat to call it the G-string.
100%. 100%.
That's how we honor him. One of the many ways.
Anyways, so Jesse, since you're here, real quick before we go in with what the two of y'all say, Jesse, you posted a video on Twitter, and we've been trying like the dickens for like the past hour to get it loaded up here. Finally got it loaded.
It was my first thought when I got off work, because like I said, I was driving Amazon delivery, and I was like in the freeway in traffic, and I was like, I don't even know what to do with this. The second I got back to the station and stopped, my first thought was like this vivid clip that I have of Garth in my mind, because it was like one of the most personal interactions I'd had with Garth, because he's always been in the chat. He's wonderful in the chat. He keeps the streams alive. Even when we had like 3 live viewers, one of them was always Garth, and he made it so much fun. And then we were doing a New Year's party thing, and I think Garth messaged me or something, and he's like, "Hey, can I come on?" And I was like, 100%. Come on over. And he was just so much more talented than anybody we had on screen. Sorry, Chris and Robert. I know you guys were both there. But
I mean, am I going to argue that on this stream? No.
Listen.
Am I going to argue it in
Garth's a
general?
gangster.
No.
He's friends with Patty Jenkins. All right.
I mean,
It's just, yeah.
The man could draw himself out of a freaking Maze Runner maze. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
That being said, we did get the video upload, so let's go ahead and share that. Warning, there might be some spicy language, but
I was going to say, pardon Allison's drunken slur.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
But yeah, here's that video real quick.
My face hurts a lot. Now, much anticipated. We've been waiting for this moment. He's been dragging this picture for about 8 minutes. Garth.
He's also been yelled at by his nurses to be more quiet, and it's
gonna
probably
be-
my fault because I'm loud as fuck.
From here on out, Garth is using sign language. All right, so he's going to flip it over. And we're going, oh my God, Jesus.
Garth, what the fuck?
A turd in the wind.
Fucking Picasso. Just hanging, like chilling in the breeze over here.
Who ended up getting it first with chat? Robert. I just want to set that up. The premise was you had like a minute to draw something that represented a movie, and then everyone had to guess the movie. And Garth was like, "Hey, can I have an extra couple minutes?" I was like, "Sure, man, whatever you want." And they flipped that over, and we're like, "Fuck."
So good.
Yeah. Anyways, and then Eric. So Eric, we reached out, wanted you to come join us because you put out a very heartfelt message, like a week or two ago on Twitter. Just I know from your point of view, I know Garth joined you and Drew for like steady sessions like all the time.
Yeah. So
you're from your point of view, your interactions with Garth and whatnot.
That was the thing. It's unfortunately, we spent a lot of time with Garth, but we didn't have a lot of video of him because we didn't, it wasn't public, which was like private stuff. We were hanging out and studying and stuff, and we kept that up even after the Schmodown ended. Like Drew still does study sessions, every week, and Garth was always there to come, play with us and everything. Even in the last couple of months, from his hospital bed, he would show up and play as best as he can. And no, it's just when he was very transparent with us about how he was doing every week, and he was always share updates and everything. And in the last couple of months, he just was very, very honest that he didn't know how much longer he had. And so just one of those things is when I just thinking about it, I know he's had health issues for a long time now, and just it's as an adult, you get older, you start thinking about these things, the inevitability of stuff like this. And one of the things I told Drew, when we first met, it's I really loved being part of the Schmodown, and I know Garth did too. And the double-edged sword of having a big community and people that you care about is you have a lot of people to worry about, on the other end of that. And so things happen to people, and it's just, you have to take that in stride. And so when Garth was talking to us in the last few months, I just sort of wanted to express how I felt about him. I didn't want it to be like this, where I had, things that I felt like he should know, of how important he was to us. And so I just apropos of nothing that day, I just sort of, had some free time, and I decided to write out that Twitter thread just to kind of express, what we thought about him, at least what I thought about him. And what he meant to us, because I just think that, it's important, if someone is sort of on the precipice there, that they're that they themselves can sort of be aware of. I think it's important to give them those thoughts while they can still hear it. It's just it sucks we didn't know when this would happen, and Drew was really broken up about it because we could have had the study session earlier, we could have done such and such earlier, but we never know when that's going to come, and so you can never beat yourself up over the missed opportunities. And those times I just wanted to know I know he's still with us. I want him to see how we feel. I don't want to miss that opportunity, so I'm glad that I was able to share that with him. And it's just in this time, I always think of the one thing I usually think of in these things like this is that clip of Keanu Reeves on Stephen Colbert, when he asks Keanu Reeves, like, what happens when we die, and he says, like, I know that the ones who love us will miss us, and like that's that's a very comforting thought. It's like, the uncertainty of like, what happens afterwards is like scary, but like the certainty of that is comforting. And I just wanted Garth to have that certainty that he meant a lot to people. And I was very appreciative that everyone shared it and liked it, and was able to reciprocate that.
I love that, because I think there's something in almost every one of us, whether you are someone like, I think I'm going to preface this by saying I know it's an idea that most of us have, and it's an idea that comes from our ego. Sure, everyone has it, but everyone is always curious as to, when I pass, who would show up at a funeral, who would say kind things, who all would actually care. And I love the fact that, like, you basically did that ahead of time so he could see how much the community cared about him, loved him, how much support, like, he got to know how much support he had before. And I don't think unfortunately, that's not something I think most of us have the ability to do or get.
Forethought.
Yeah, it's very hard to be able to do that, especially because it's a hard thing, especially if you are doing that in that, hey, we understand that you're sick, that this is going to be coming pretty soon. Let's go ahead and do this. For someone to be able to wrap their minds around that and then produce what you produced, that's absolutely awesome. So yes, as someone who has thought about that myself, like, how much would this community care if I wasn't here, type of a situation. That was an amazing post. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really glad. Sorry, go ahead.
I honestly wanted to just mention too that I hope you and Drew know that Garth also just genuinely cared about you guys, and it was always extremely evident from when we were hanging out privately doing our own movie watch-alongs, whatever, and the Cinefanatics thing. Like, he cherished you guys and would always prioritize like your study sessions and things, and just like it'd be something he would look forward to, especially when he was in the hospital. And I think that post like meant a lot to him. And yeah, I hope that you both know that and feel that.
He always mentioned a lot. He really never stopped talking about how much those study sessions with you two meant to him. So
yeah, and we felt that too, and it was important. Like, he was always there because like I said, after the Schmodown ended, it was like, like, what are we studying for? But like, really, at that point, it had evolved beyond like preparing for anything like literal or tangible. It was more just like the keeping up the tradition of like being with each other and hanging out and enjoying each other's company. And Garth was like one of the ones like from the beginning that supported Drew very early on before I even met her, like personally, and that carried on all the way till the end here. And Drew was always very appreciative of that. And and she's currently has to finish some work right now, unfortunately, but she took it very hard, and she just to speak plainly, like she really just beats herself up about these things because she always wants to have more time. She wishes she could prepare better. She hates quote unquote losing in a way of like not being prepared to have the sort of handle on things like this, which is like it's tough to have a handle on this like in any regard, even though we had like a long runway to prepare for this. It's a shame, but like otherwise, like I really think we appreciate Garth's participation in the study sessions and the hangouts every week that he was able to be a part of it. And I always had like a running gag with him during our study sessions that whenever we got to the wheel round, if there was a slice on the wheel, we both really loved Inner Geekdom stuff. And if there was a slice on the wheel that we both liked, like Spider-Man or Batman or Inner Geekdom, whatever, if he went first, he would always get the slice before I did. And so I ended up factoring into my strategy is if we both had to spin, I had the choice. I was like, okay, who's up next? Garth? What's on the wheel? Batman still? Okay, I'm gonna go. Like, I'm gonna go. If I go, he's gonna get it. He's gonna steal it from me. I want that slice. And it always happened. I swear to God, every single time. Every time I was like, you know what? I'll let Garth go. And he would always spin it first and take those slices away from me. And I would always get so pissed. It was like a very consistent running gag we had with each other.
Well, that sounds better than the gag that him and Roka had going on. So
Yeah.
that one involved testicles. Just saying.
Yeah.
I also wanted to thank Eric really quickly for making that post, prior to what has happened, because I think a lot of us felt this way about Garth. A lot of us have a very special place for Garth, but other than, when he would pop in the chat and saying, hey, and sending the occasional message and stuff, I think a lot of us took for granted or maybe assumed that he knew, because we were always, very welcoming to whatever we had going on. But I think it's important to really hammer it home. And not only myself, but I believe others, when Eric came forward and put that out, inspired us to say our piece about Garth and let him have that, as and we obviously didn't know what was coming, but in the potentiality that it could, he got to have that. And I think that's really important. And I said on my post that we lost a light, and I think we really did, in that it's very paramount in the online space and the spaces that we deal with, and film, Twitter, and stuff like that. We see daily a lot of negativity, a lot of hatred. We see bigotry, racism, sexism, all those kinds of things, all the things that Garth was not. And it was so important to have as many distractions as we can from some of that. And it when you have somebody that's the way that Garth was and always brings humor to it, it does make the world, and even our microcosm of a world, feel colder. And it's something that's not going to go away. So I think the best thing we can do is continue to try to be, that energy. That's and I always thought that I had the most the worst jokes and eye rolling puns and stuff like that. And Garth actually me on puns, which was a new experience.
Wow.
It's a new level.
So I feel like it's now my personal goal to pop into every live chat thing that I see and just really bug the hell out of you guys with some terrible, terrible jokes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you touched on a part of his character that I wanted to expand on, which was he was so supportive of just women's issues, and as a queer woman, if I was ever harassed by someone on Twitter or something about a certain issue, he was always someone who was just supportive of me, and I would see him be supportive of other people. He was just such a supportive person who was an advocate for a lot of these issues. I know that something that he was super passionate about, and that he was open about, was that he was actually a sex health educator for a while. And he would talk openly with people about those sort of issues, AIDS and HIV was something he was super passionate and open about as well. And yeah, just being just a badass advocate for people, and someone who would stand up to people who he thought were in the wrong about something related to that. There were several times where he messaged me privately about something that would happen, where he would kind of stick up for me, and he'd be like, hey, I just want to make sure I'm not crossing any of your I'm not crossing a boundary, or that this was worded the right way, or whichever. He was just always someone who would say the right thing, and I would see him do it for other people as well. And that's something, again, talking about film Twitter, or just Twitter in general, whichever, or just the world, even in real life, you don't see or encounter a lot of people who are as willing to do that, whether it be because they're afraid or because I don't know, whatever X amount of reasons. He was always someone who would stand up for the right thing and support you when you were going through something that was difficult. And yeah, I'm gonna miss seeing him in all sorts of ways, but also just him speaking up for the right thing, I think, was something that he was passionate about, that I wanted to acknowledge, because you just don't see it a lot. Yeah.
To piggyback off of that, and I'm not going to bring up any one instance, but I do know that there are within the community, specifically like the Schmodown community, there were different groups that at any given time may have said something that Garth didn't agree with or Garth didn't appreciate, and he's always been the type of person that, unlike kind of what we see online nowadays, that if such and such is against something or another, you're just, nope, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm not even going to bother. Garth was always open to talking things out. Like if he was against what it was you were saying or thinking or doing, he'll let you know that he doesn't agree with you, but he was very respectful and let's talk this out. Let's figure this out. And he was still someone who could be your friend, could be a supporter, follower, subscriber for you. He just wanted to make sure that like everything was talked out and everyone is on the same level field. And for someone like me who deals with mental issues about stuff like that from time to time, it's amazing that someone like him exists. The fact that he is able to go outside of like what we would all think is like our comfort zone and able to talk about hard, tough topics like the topics that Tori was talking about. That's not something that generally people feel comfortable doing. And he did it because that's the way he is. And he did it pretty eloquently. He knew what he was talking about. He knew what his arguments, his talking points were. And he conveyed those ideas very well, very eloquently. So yeah, I think that's a feature of people that we don't see too often nowadays, especially in the prevalence of Twitter, that it's amazing that someone is capable of doing that. Just talking, listening, understanding, and accepting in either direction of the argument. So
there are also many times where whenever something hard was happening, whenever whatever issues may exist were existing, Garth would want to speak on it or want to mention something about whatever might be happening. And in those situations, those very specific situations, I've frequently gotten messages from him before saying like, hey, I have this thought. I would like to say this. Is it okay for me to say that? Is it okay for me to speak on this issue right now? When it was a very personal thing for like any of us up here. And a lot of times I would say like, hey man, that's perfectly fine if you want to say that. Or sometimes I'd be like, hey, it's not the greatest idea to do that right now. And he was always, okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure. I just wanted to double check. I just want to make sure I'm not speaking out of turn or saying things that could hurt somebody inadvertently. He was literally one of the most respectful people that I think that we've ever met in this space, just based on how much he was willing to make sure that he wasn't stepping on someone's toes ever, whenever he wanted to give his opinion and share his thoughts on stuff. So it's just it's gonna be really, this is just the stepify. It's gonna be really difficult to be able to do streams and not have him pop in. To not have him pop in and say hello, or as he would do in my Twitch stream very often, he would just pop in and say howdy. And I'm gonna miss the first comment every stream. Howdy. I'm gonna miss that.
Yeah, he would definitely. He always made an effort to, even if he was on his way somewhere or busy, or maybe a lot of times, and he was up front too. There'd be overlap, and we'd have multiple like live streams going on and stuff at a time. He's like, "Hey, I'm currently over on this one, but I want to stop in and say hi." I'm like, "Wow, you super didn't have to do that," but like, it's really nice.
Your cats are like having a war behind you.
Yeah, they're having like a party.
I didn't want to sidetrack, but like you got to see all three of my cats. They just like did a loop in here, and they just like fought and left. And
So that being said, Garth was a fan of the kitties. He very much loved whenever my cat Lola would pop up on a stream. So yeah, I know what you're thinking, everyone. Yes, sure. But he was a fan of
Show
the
me
kitty
your
cat.
kitties.
Yeah. He loved it when my cat would pop up on a stream and whatnot. So yeah.
Lola's gonna miss Garth too.
Yes, she is.
From the chat. I'm sorry, Rachel. This is kind of how you're first finding out. Yeah, it's it's Rachel. Rachel here knows very well. She's been in plenty of chats with Garth. She knows how much of a joy he was to be a part of streams and everything with. So thank you for popping in and kind of sharing your thoughts here, Rachel.
I do have a short window of time, so I really wanted to come on here and talk with you guys a little bit. Give myself a chance to process, because I pretty much went from work to here, and it was good to talk with everyone. I feel like almost everyone here has had either, if not longer, close to this, probably longer experience with Garth. I was a relative newcomer, and I said most of that in my Twitter post. I'm not calling it X; it's still Twitter. Garth would call it Twitter too.
Yep.
Yes, he would.
Yeah. But he was just very, very welcoming. As is everyone on screen here, it's just part of the community that we were lucky enough to be a part of. But I feel like Garth really was in the forefront of that community. I remember before I ever had a name to the face, back when I used to watch anything that Harloff or Ellis were a part of and stuff. Why can't I think of the show, like at the end and stuff? I always heard donation from Garth Harkness McMurray and stuff, and I always knew the name. I heard the name. And they started popping up in the chat. They popped up in the streams, and he was just such a wonderfully unique person that really exclusion was a word that was not in his vocabulary, and it's one of those things that we can just only aspire to follow in his footsteps. And I get slightly inconvenienced or have a bad day, and I'm pretty miserable. And he was so much better than me, at handling anything and everything. And he got put to the test day after day. And I don't know how he did it, but it's something that when we think it's rough, remember that it's a choice of how we feel or how we respond to the things that beat us down. And I think he was a really great example of that. So that's kind of the last piece I want to put out there before I get out of here and say goodbye to all you lovely people.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Thank you for coming in here and sharing your thoughts, Jesse. We appreciate it.
It was good to see you guys. Robert, Chris, Tori, good to see you. And Eric, I feel like I haven't seen you in months. We got to fix that. I know you're super busy, but at some point. You're on mute.
Muted.
There we go.
Classic.
Perfect.
Yeah, let me know, man. Yeah, I'm happy to hop on anytime.
Sounds good. All right, guys. You have as good of a rest of the night as you can. Take it easy, everybody.
Good night, Jesse.
Good night.
Yeah, what Lego's saying here. I fully believe this, actually. That sounds like a Garth pun.
He did post a tweet about that fairly recently, talking about he's like, no, I'm calling it Twix.
And what's funny about Garth's puns is they're all something that's so simple. Any one of us could have figured that out. We could have all just Twitter X Twix.
Yeah.
It's right there. It's so fucking simple to figure out. But yet we couldn't, and Garth could. And at the end of the day, that's what matters.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Garth. Yeah, what Jesse was saying was about how you handle adversity. I think Garth was a good example of that. One of the wildest stories he had, from this past year was him being in the hospital and his roommate being like a huge Venom fan, and like
Yeah.
they watched Venom like upward of like 20 times, and like in the hospital, like bed next to him, and he's just like driving him crazy with that. It's such a Garth story to have, you know, like of everyone experiences in a hospital for that to be one of his stories that you could share with us.
Yeah.
That was his post, wasn't it? His post on Twitter was on Saturday. I'm not going to be at her much anymore. I'm not joining any other service yet. I'm just tired of changes on here. I won't see your posts as often or respond as. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I'm gonna miss him.
Really, yeah.
It's gonna take a while for this to fully like sink in. I think I am of the phase where I just want to think of like the good humorous things. I want to laugh about what he's brought, the jokes and stuff that he's added to my life, and I think it's gonna be something like the actual loss is going to hit me much later when the camera's not on me.
Yeah.
That's just how I am.
As you're lying in bed tonight, did you try to?
Yeah, it's going to be something like that. Or very likely it's going to be probably like a good cry in the shower, in all honesty. That's,
Well, that's what I was saying to Chris earlier. I was like, I think it hits in waves, and not to judge yourself for like any sort of reaction. Like, I think, I was at work, so it was like I had like 30 minutes left to work after, and I just decided to stay because I was like, I don't really know what to do with myself right now. And it's like, that's okay. And I think sort of taking care of yourself is important, and letting yourself feel how you want to feel. So if it doesn't hit you tonight, that's okay. And if it hits you in a week or in a month, that's also okay. And I think that's normal. Again, it's just okay. Like, I think that's important to also remind yourself is just, it's okay if like, it doesn't hit you until you're on a stream or something. And you're like, oh, why isn't he here? And then you like remember. I think that's part of the process. And I think just letting yourself feel however it's happening is just, I think, the healthiest way to sort of do that. And I feel like, I think Vernon worded it well. Like, I want to like thank I want to thank Garth for like all of the good memories and for being just a genuinely good person. And it just makes me like, I just feel a deep sadness at the loss of him, and how Jesse said how it feels colder when people like that are gone. Because it does. I think that's a good way to word it. It feels colder.
Before I head out as well, I just want to, I guess, probably share like what I think my best summation of what Drew would want to share for him is just that, like he meant a lot to her because like you, Chris, she had two very, very rough car accidents before she joined the Schmodown, and that was like a big part of like her sort of hill to climb as she was getting involved, with like other stuff going on in her life. And she, was, when she joined Schmodown, she says like, the Schmodown probably like helped save her life because of the community that, like rallied behind her, like for being like, a self-proclaimed weirdo on screen. And she like really embraced that, and she was really happy that people embraced her for that. And Garth was one of the first people who like would, really support her, and especially for a person who, she didn't really know what she was, doing, at that time, on camera and off camera, to mix that together. She just knew that it was like there was something to be had, being surrounded by people who liked what she was doing. And, she mixed that with like, doing random late night streams before people were streaming, professionally, like this all the time. Like randomly in 2019, she would do, streams until 5 a.m. just talking to her camera or into the ether for just, because that's what she liked to do. And Garth was always a big supporter of her, like from day one, just coming on and sharing, his stories with her and talking to her, on camera, like through chat, like whatever. And I think he was like a very vocal, supporter and like a face of like what that community meant to her at that time, and uh, and that just I think really helped her feel like unalone, like when she really needed it. And now she's here, and like I think she, uh, one of the reasons like that we connected so well was because like like Garth, I found like a very I had like a found family experience, finding the Schmodown and everyone involved in it, and I just wanted to support people and help people any way I can to like help them thrive and be creative. And I think Drew felt that as well. She just couldn't find it in the words to express it the way Garth was able to, and to put it into action the way Garth was able to until like we met him. And I think he was like a big example of like the type of people that we feel appreciative being supported by, people we also want to support, because like he deserves to be seen and heard and like understood that his support is not doesn't fall on deaf ears. And so he was like a really great friend in that regard, that he showed us like the way of like how we want to operate now, and especially with what we're doing now. We're working for this website that Passion Fruit, which is like geared towards helping creators and people online in like a creative space. And a lot of that is I think fueled by the type of people that that Garth is, that he was, that he to just like help people be creative, because that's like the right thing to do. And so I'll always be really appreciative of him for that.
Yeah, he was definitely a one of a kind, for sure.
Yeah. But I will get back to Drew and help her out with some stuff. I just want to come on and see my piece. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah. Thank you for stopping by, Eric.
Hope you guys are able to have as good a night as possible tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, sir.
Okay, right.
There's a few. We got a few comments in the chat here. Bill here. One of the first times I met Garth was on a stream, and we bonded over our mutual love of the film Turbo Kid. He'd send me a link to special edition releases and shirts for it. He was really thoughtful.
Was Turbo Kid like I read that and I thought of Jingle All the Way. Was Turbo Kid something separate from
you're thinking
Turbo Man?
Yeah.
Which I could have sworn Garth was a fan of that too. So
and then Lego said, I feel like there will be an emptiness in a lot of these spaces online that Garth occupied, and that'll be felt for quite a long time. I completely agree with that. I think there's going to be like Jesse was saying, there's going to be that cold feeling for a while. There's definitely going to be an emptiness for a while, because where a lot of us would start our stream and Garth would be the first one to pop in. That'll no longer be the case, and it is going to be a hard thing to deal with for quite some time, not being able to have his presence around.
So, for example of that, we did our tagline show last night, and then afterwards, I impromptu, decided to just randomly stream on my channel playing Fortnite, and Garth wasn't there. And I was like, this is something like, if I'm popping up just doing a random stream, Garth would pop in and say, hey, hi, how are you doing? And my first thought was like, after a while when he wasn't in the chat, I was like, man, I hope he's doing okay. I know, again, his health and everything. It's like, man, I really hope he's doing okay, because it's really weird when he is such a huge supporter and fan of all these channels that when you don't see him there, you're like, the first thought you got to is, man, I hope he's doing all right. Like, it's really odd him not being in a live stream. And granted, yes, generally human beings, people have things that they have to do. I'm not saying that like every single person needs to be there for a kind of a live stream.
But he was around so much that when he didn't show up, it was like, is everything okay?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's just like that is it's hard emotionally that you're used to someone of that kind of support constantly, and they're not going to be there anymore.
Yeah. Rachel said when we get that Agatha Harkness show,
yes,
the number of puns we had going on that. Yeah. It's because she has his name. Yeah. It's going to be hard. And honestly, like, for those of y'all out there who, Garth meant a lot to you, if at any point, I'll speak for myself at least here, at any point you want to, like, share some memories, and, maybe you're not in that place where you're ready to do so yet, and you want to share some memories, I'll open up my my DMs over on Twitter if you want to share something, at least with me or what have you. You're more than welcome to. Just so those stories have a place to live somewhere. I don't know if that is something that would be meaningful to anybody or not, but I know we all sometimes need a place where we can share thoughts when we're ready to do so. Obviously, we just got this news today, so not everyone is necessarily able to process and share the things that they would like to share immediately. But, I'm more than willing to listen if anyone has anything they want to share in regards to Garth, just to kind of speak some stuff out there.
Do you have the same feeling as me right now, or I'm kind of like, oh, like this is like a dream, and I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and he'll be there?
Yeah, so it's basically what was that called? The 5 stages of grief.
This is the denial.
Oh no, yeah, that's for sure a thing. But do you know that the appendum on that is that it's not linear? You bounce back and forth.
Oh yeah. You bounce between like all 5
you could be
of them
one day and then a different one the next. Yeah.
I think it's even so. For those of y'all not familiar, 5 stages of grief are 5 stages of grief are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. I think, like, I know that people commonly will bounce back and forth between a couple of them before reaching that acceptance, and then even after you hit acceptance, there's still the possibility of bouncing back to a couple of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's definitely. I wouldn't say necessarily I don't know. Like, I think right now I feel like I'm just in acceptance.
For a little bit, you're in a tiny bit of acceptance. You're in a logical acceptance, but you're not in an emotional acceptance.
Yeah, and that's what I said. For me, emotional wise, that's going to be something I do on my own in the shower or laying in bed before going to sleep later. It probably won't actually hit me fully until probably tomorrow, at some point tomorrow. So
yeah, everybody goes through these things in their own time and experiences the emotions in their own time.
I do want to share. So I got an image from Jake Yacovetta saying that got to share my favorite Garth drawing. He did this one night on the Whirl Girls after I was giving Roxy shit about the Patriots. So he quickly drew this. In 15 minutes. Within 15 minutes, he drew this. And this looks like it's done on a whiteboard. That kind of art on a whiteboard within 15 minutes is hilarious. Like, that's just amazing to be able to nail that. So
he listen, we talked a lot about like Garth's personality and attitude and who he was as a person. That man was actually a talented artist. The fact that he was able to churn out drawings so quickly and they actually be of quality and not just like a funny little stick figure or something. He was actually like, if you wanted to say like did the man have a talent and a creative art of some sort? Yes. Yes, he did. He absolutely is. I know there's many people here and there who have, funny little drawings or something that he made. And those things are things that people will keep and will hold on to and will remember him by for quite some time. We have video evidence of funny little whiteboard drawings that he did that will now live in infamy as things that will mean things to people now in these video clips and whatnot, like that Venom one from Flick and Reel. So
the entire chat while you're saying that just exploded into trying to get you to assault your brother.
Yeah, say Garth would love it if Chris tackled Robert right now. Just saying.
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
Chris might break. He's fragile.
The thing about that is that Garth very much knew the physicality that I've dealt with, and I'm kind of off and on in places, and he for sure would not want me doing that if I did not feel like I physically could handle, putting on a show in that regard.
Didn't the actual one hurt you after you did it? You felt weird for
the
today?
second one did.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Like, I definitely stubbed my toe or something in the process of doing one of them, and it kind of hurt for a while.
The second one. There were 3 of them total. The first one was the charity stream for Smets.
For Smets, yeah.
And then we did the second one. I forgot where the second one was on.
The second one was on
the second one might have
FCL, the thing you did.
The third one was the FCL.
Oh.
Yeah, I forget what the second one was too, but
I know, I didn't know there were 3 either. I thought there was 1.
Everything.
Yeah,
is a trilogy.
3 total.
This is one of those trilogies where the third one is the greatest, and it had to happen in an official capacity on a Schmoedown related thing.
Oh no, that's
second
right.
One was Rachel's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The second one. Okay, yeah. So that was that episode.
No, that might have been the first one. Was it the first one? Or?
No, the first one was the Smets charity, because someone was saying if you donate a certain amount of money, Chris will go tackle his brother live on camera. The second one was the stream for Rachel Silverstream as if we're trying to date her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When were you on The Bachelor with Rachel Silverstream? What?
It wasn't a real Bachelor. It was a
I know
show.
Was this before I was friends with you?
Yes.
Probably.
The before.
So Chris tackled me. He broke my chair and then also busted up his toe on that stream.
Yeah.
He's a fragile man.
Listen, commitment for the bit.
Yeah.
Lego's asking, is there a quick clip of all 3 together? The first one, the one with Smets, is lost to time and YouTube's terrible rules on you can't stream longer than 12 hours and keep
Lost the time and in space.
If YouTube allowed you to stream longer than 12 hours, we would still have that footage. But it is gone. The one with Rachel, I believe, still exists somewhere. We have to figure out where it's at. And then the one on the Schmoedown,
the FCL is lost.
The FCL.
No, well,
I think we can figure out access to that. I don't think it's completely lost. I think it's still accessible somewhere, but we have to work through some different channels in order to find it.
Yeah, it's at least on our reaction to it, because we did a reaction to our match.
Yeah.
Oh, William Harold got it. Good job, sir. I was throwing a Rocky Horror reference in there real quick.
Oh my gosh.
I was hoping someone would pick up on it. William Harold, shout out to William Harold. He is great, on all the very small, nonchalant references I feel like I throw out. So kudos to him.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anyone else out there who still wants to pop in and share their thoughts. You're more than welcome to. But if we don't have any others chiming in, we might possibly end the stream here pretty soon. Just because we don't want to keep everyone's time tonight, and everyone wants to do what they can to grieve and mourn in their own ways. They don't necessarily need to watch someone to do that. So
If you cry into some mac and cheese, that's okay.
I mean, it's just salt on your mac and cheese. I mean,
I think I literally cried into it and ate it. I think that there was actual.
I will definitely be like I've gotten choked up quite a few times over the last couple hours, so I definitely probably will emotionally let loose at some point off stream.
yeah. So again, like we heard about this after we got out of the movie earlier, and we stopped off at the grocery store on the way home, and Vernon called while we were at the grocery store, and just the two of us at the grocery store trying to buy food. We're like, I don't know what I'm looking at. We're just staring at shelves. Like I don't
know how to think or process what I was already doing at the moment, because it's rough. Because I mean, Garth was one of those people that we interacted with damn near daily.
Yeah.
Honestly, if not daily, at least multiple times a week.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a very weird thing to not be able to do that anymore.
This is going to take a while. It is going to be weird to do a talent, or like we're doing a show tomorrow night.
Yeah.
It's going to be weird not having Garth there. Yeah.
Yeah, Jake, I didn't cry until I got home. I just was, I don't know. I'm good at like dissociating, and like just like if something hits me, I'm like I can compartmentalize it for a minute and then be like, I'm gonna deal with this later. Really good at that, but eventually it will come out, and I'm just emotional. Like I just think of things, or I think of like memories or something, and it just hits me. And I got home, I took a shower after getting off the phone with Chris, and yeah, just like I was just in the shower and I just like broke, and from then on I just was, I don't know. It is just surreal. Like I am someone who, like you guys were saying earlier, like I don't have a lot of personal experience with someone passing away in my life that I cared about. At this point in my life, I've been very lucky. It's been sort of people I didn't really have a lot of interactions with. And so it's a bit unfamiliar territory for me in that way. But it is just a lot of my close friends right now are online, and my friendship with Garth felt close, even though I haven't met him in person. And I wish we would have gotten the chance to do that. Chris and I were saying earlier too, like we're not going to sit and be like, if only we had gone to Boston, because you could sit there all day and regret.
That trip. We've been planning that trip. We've been wanting to take a trip up to Boston. Money, of course, is a thing. Money sometimes just isn't there to be able to do certain things in life. And how much the two of us up here have been talking about, like, hey, at some point we need to make a visit up to Boston. I know at the time the Schmodown was going on, there was talk of at some point the Schmodown doing a live event in Boston, and we were thinking like, hey, if that happens, we've got to go not only just for the Schmodown, but we'll finally get to meet Garth in person. And that's something that we always really wanted to do. I think that's part of what I wanted to say earlier was in regards to Eric's piece on Twitter and all that, was how much we shared with him. At some point we want to make the trek up to Boston and go spend some time with him, go hang out with him, go experience Boston through Garth's eyes, and have him like be able to show us his city and all that, and how much that would mean to him, and just that would mean a lot to us too, to be able to experience that. And I was really hoping, like we knew that his like visit to the hospital this time, he was He was not in great shape, and you know, the fact that earlier this year, late last year, he was battling through COVID in the hospital, and actually beat it. Actually got through COVID. And that's something that was like a scary situation too, because his immune system was not one that could handle such a thing. And the fact that he was able to beat it and get through it, it gave me a lot of hope that we eventually could make that trip to Boston to be able to go visit him. And that was something that I really still wanted to do.
So I'm not going to tell the full story, because I feel like every time we talk about going to Boston, I always end up telling this story. I have been to Boston before. I'm going to quickly surmise it instead of leaving it like the way I normally tell it. I went to Boston the weekend of the marathon that had the bombing. I think that was 2013. I think, if I remember correctly. So I was always connected with Garth in that I have visited Boston. It was before we started a YouTube channel. It was before the Schmodown, before I knew Garth. And it always kicked me. Like, granted, yes, obviously, again, it's before I knew Garth or anyone. But it always kicks me that I've been in Boston. I could have visited this man, this myth, this legend. I know it sounds corny, but still. I could have visited him if I had known of him and the Schmodown, and like just looking back now, knowing that was where he essentially grew up, is the Boston area, and seeing everything there, like even just that, I feel like grateful to have. Yes, we would have loved to have gone back to Boston. It's a great area to go visit. I enjoyed being there, but it's going there also to be able to meet and hang out with Garth, one of our biggest supporters. Almost all of our supporters that we've had, a lot of the supporters that we have that are constantly following us, whether it's on Patreon or anything we do, whether it's over on Chris's Twitch streams or if I do a stream randomly or something, like the main followers we have met or interacted with in some form, except Garth. And yeah, that's always the one on, like,
outside of online, of course, we've obviously had so much communication with Garth online.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, there's a couple of people have come here to Austin to meet with us and to hang out and whatnot. Some people we've met, like say through the Schmodown. Spectacular, the last Spectacular event we went to. Like, I see Rachel in the chat. Rachel, we got to meet in person at Spectacular finally. So yes, a lot of people that we have met and interacted with because of the Schmodown, because of starting a YouTube channel, we've gotten to meet in person. And I hate the fact we've never gotten to actually go visit Garth. And I know that was something that we would have loved to have done. It probably would have been something that we would have done probably within the next year.
Yeah, 100%. 100% would have found a way to do it within the next year.
Yeah. So I know the other thing I want to add real quick is some people may know I collect like these Hot Toys figures. I'm specifically holding up Captain America because, I mean, anyone who knows Garth knows that he's a huge fan of Captain America. He actually got a Hot Toys figure of Captain America. He got the USO show figure of Captain America. And it's so awesome that he was able to get it. One, because that's a super hard figure to get. Anyone who collects those toys, these figures, know that's super hard. But I also know how meaningful that was to him. He loved Captain America.
Yeah, he would always ask me to put on the Captain America skin whenever I'm playing Fortnite on my stream. He wants me to be Captain America on that stream. Every time I was like, okay, I'll be Captain America.
Didn't he even do like a thing like he would donate like a certain amount of money if you would play as Captain America?
Yeah, and then honestly, like this last time, I think it might have even been the last stream of mine that he was able to hang out in. I don't know. I just chose that skin just naturally, and I knew that he would pop up in the chat and just appreciate it. Like I wasn't doing it for any kind of like donation. I wasn't doing it for any reason other than, you know, I feel like Garth would appreciate this right now. I feel like if I put on the skin, he's going to pop up, and sure enough, he's like, I pop up in the chat and I see Captain America, and like it's one of those things where it's like, you know, you're talking about someone playing Fortnite on a stream. You know, it's a small thing. It's a very, very small thing, but you know, it still meant something to him because that being like one of, if not his favorite Marvel character, and you know, everything that that character means and what it represents to him, and just being able to like do such a small gesture, knowing that like, hey, I know that if Garth shows up here, he's going to appreciate this. I don't know. I feel weird. I feel funny like sharing that as a story because again, I think it's just it's such a niche, small, very, very tiny thing.
Yeah.
But it's still something that plays in my head as like, if you knew then what was going to happen now, you would understand why that event occurred at that time. Whether, you know, you guys out there want to believe in, you know, what kind of events happen in life and whether they happen for a reason or not. You know, I tend to think that most things do happen for a reason of in some form or fashion. And I think that was definitely one of those situations where it's like, this kind of small little thing happened just now, just because it was going to bring some joy.
Yeah, I like Rachel here. Someone needs to write a skit of Garth and the curse of the horrible hospital roommates.
Yeah, all the roommates.
Like, seriously, some of the stories he would tell about these hospital roommates, it sounded like it was just an SNL skit. Like, these people aren't real people, right? There's not logically someone that is watching Venom back to back to back to back to back to back to back.
It does absolutely sound like an SNL skit. Like it's like someone wrote a skit where they just put a hand over their eyes, pointed a finger, and landed on a random movie, and that's the movie that character in that skit is going to watch over and over and over again.
Yep.
Like, I understand, like, again, Garth's favorite movie was Casablanca. I could understand watching Casablanca back to back to back. It is a good movie. I completely understand why it could be someone's favorite movie. Venom? It's a movie.
It exists.
It's not bad, but it's not.
It's not Casablanca.
It's not Casablanca.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone go watch Casablanca this weekend for Garth. Truly.
Yes.
Never seen it. I barely know what it's about.
It's a good movie.
I'm going to find out. So.
Yeah.
And I think the link for the donation will be up for sure on Twitter. I think I'm going to go ahead and I'll pin the post to my profile if you want to find it after this.
We are going. Yeah, we're going to have it at least for the next couple of shows. All donations and anything we get from our streams on Streamlabs are going to go to Garth. It's going to go to the New England. I still can't remember what it is. Is it New England Hemophilia Association? Yeah. So, like, for the marquee that we're doing tomorrow, and for tagline on this coming Wednesday, any donations, and we'll mention on those shows as well. Those donations are going to go to the New England Hemophilia Association.
Yep, and we'll tally up everything and make that donation to them after tagline.
Yeah.
So, gosh, again, I don't know if anybody else has anything else they want to share in the chat. If any of y'all have anything else you want to send in last minute for the Streamlabs, just kind of share on there. Just kind of get any thoughts or anything out there. If not, we'll probably wrap this up here. Just everybody just remember that you know, the type of person that Garth was, he honestly wouldn't want us. I really don't think that he would want us dwelling too long and hard on him, honestly. His phrase that he always liked to say, and this just came to me, I was just reminded of this, is we all got to keep on keeping on. He would say that all the time. Hey, how you doing? I'm keeping on keeping on. You know, no matter what's going on, no matter how hard things are, he was keeping on keeping on. And I think that's the thing that he would leave with all of us, is to like, hey, I'm okay now. I'm all right now. You guys got to carry forward. You guys got to keep on keeping on.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Any other final thoughts, Tori?
I think it's just I want to reiterate the point. Oh my God, it's too angry orchards. To take care of yourself over the next few days. I think like the biggest thing for me is just, you know, if it doesn't hit you until tomorrow or next week or whichever, that's okay. If you don't have the money to donate to the fundraiser, that's okay. Trying not to be harsh on yourself for any sort of, I think, reaction or lack of reaction. Just know that it's okay, and to let yourself feel what you want to feel about it. And I think to just, you know, yeah, be gentle with yourself and be careful with yourself. And like Chris said, also, like, you can message me if you want to talk about Garth. I know I'll be thinking of him a lot over the next few days anyway. So you won't be you won't be bringing it up when I don't want to talk about it or something. I'll already be thinking about it. So
yeah.
If you want to share something, or you find something funny that you want to like talk about with someone, or something not funny that you want to talk about with someone, I have a Twitter and an Instagram, but whichever, you can message me or Discord, and we can talk about Garth. So yeah.
We also got a last minute, a very generous donation from Jake. Thank you so much, Jake, for this. He said, regardless of anything personal, he was a friend. Love y'all. Thanks for doing this stream. So glad he's not in pain anymore. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyways, that is going to do it for this stream tonight. Thank you, everyone who came to watch. Everything that y'all said in the chat, those of y'all that came on camera, thank y'all for being here. I know Garth would absolutely love all of this. Again, kind of like what I was saying earlier, it would be interesting to know who all appreciates you and who all actually thinks of you and your life while you're here. And even though this isn't something like Eric's post a couple of weeks ago, Garth was able to see the love that everyone in this community feels for him. Now it's time for us to recognize that love that we had for this person and what he meant in our lives. So I implore anyone, I'm terrible at this, but for some reason this is sounding pretty good. I encourage everyone, think of something positive that Garth has meant to you, and how having Garth in your life could help you help other people. I know, like, a lot of people say when someone passes away, you hear a lot of times, may his memory be a blessing. May his memory be a blessing to you, but also, how does his memory of being a blessing, how can you use it to help others? Let the fact that this person existed help you help other people. I think that's the best thing that he would want. As cheesy as it may sound, that is probably what he would want, and I fully believe it. Yeah.
And also, every time, on top of that, every time, you know, someone in your life passes, it's a great time to remember I know Vernon was mentioning this earlier. It's a great time to remember those who you do have in your life still, and to cherish them and show love to them while you have them here with you, because none of us are promised tomorrow. None of us are promised, any other time. You just never know. You just never know when you have your last moment with somebody. So make sure that everybody in your life knows that you care about them and that you love and cherish them.
Yeah. Anyways, y'all, that is going to do it for this stream. Again, thank y'all for being here. We very much appreciate it. Everyone, just have a good night. Celebrate the happiness of Garth, the memories of Garth. Just have a great evening. Try to relax. And we'll see y'all somewhere out there in the future. Anyways, good night, everyone.
Good night.